Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut, helping the brave. Let's bring in our guest today. Hello, Amanda.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm not doing too bad. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. It's a Tuesday, I guess. Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Right.
A Monday. That's a Tuesday. That's a Monday after
Tuesday, that's a
Memorial
Monday.
Day.
That's true. Yes. I don't miss those days being a doctor in the army.
Well, just in general. I mean, I went and saw. I went to the Memorial Day stuff yesterday because
Yes.
there was some stuff around, and next thing you know, it's end of the day. But I had to go to work to actually take a day off.
Go to work to take a day off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of the
Right.
honey-do list I had to do over on Saturday and Sunday until the Monday, which was a holiday. All right,
Right.
Amanda,
Right.
there's only one question I asked on each show that's the same, which is what service and why?
What service and why? The army. And honestly, it was kind of an accident.
It doesn't matter why, but how, how'd you get there?
I honestly had I did not want anything to do with any of the services, and I told recruiters that all through the end of high school because I scored very high on my ASVAB, so they all wanted me. My mom and Major Jaco, I still remember his name from 25 years ago, 27 years ago, talked my mom into applying for a scholarship because she wasn't sure she could pay for my college, and I said, "Oh, yeah, sure, I won't get it anyway." Then I ended up doing ROTC in college. I had a year to decide if I liked it, and once I started it, I loved it, and ended up spending 15 years in the Army. So, it was
Well,
a complete accident. I had no
it doesn't sound like an
ambition.
accident. Sounds like your mom had a plan for you to pay for college, what it
It was
sounded like.
basically to pay for my schooling initially, but I loved it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. My military career has been amazing. I've met amazing people, done amazing things, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
And you went to school for.
I'm a pediatrician. I'm a board certified pediatrician, but I no longer practice.
So they
The
pay for all the schooling for your boards and I mean, even for
Yeah, they
residency?
didn't pay for my boards. I had to
Well,
pay for all
I
that
mean,
out of pocket. But yes, for my medical school, yeah,
yeah.
residency. So I did ROTC in college, and then I got what's called an educational delay. And then had to apply for a different scholarship for med school. And I ended up getting all of my med school paid for. I had a few college loans, but nothing compared to what I would have had the military not assisted me. Um, so yeah, I owed 8 years after 4 years for college, 4 years for med school, and did my residency at Tripler in Hawaii. It, would have been a lot better had I not been working 80 hours a week. Um, I
But
spent most of
isn't that what all residents work anyway?
Yeah, but in Hawaii, you don't wanna work that much. My neighbor actually, she was a actually, I'm still friends with her. She's here at in Clarksville with me. Her and her husband, lived next to us in Hawaii, when I was married to my first husband, and, they ended up back here, but she used to call me Casper because if I went to the beach after a call night, I was white as a ghost. All the army wives were, tan because they were at the beach every day. But I was white as a ghost because I spent all my time inside. So, but yeah, I did my residency at Tripler, and then I was basically told I can pass a PT test, so I was going operational because as a pediatrician, was considered general practice.
Okay, that's what I was gonna
So,
get at because pediatrician isn't really general practice, it's more of a specialty.
oh, but in the army, it is.
Well, it's whatever they need you for is the way it works. Yeah.
So I ended up going operational after having a long conversation with the full bird colonel who was my consultant. Then I said, "Sir, I'm not going operational." He said, "Oh, yes, you are." And he said, "But go aviation. Uh, don't go infantry. Don't end up with an infantry. Go aviation so you don't end up with the infantry because you're likely to deploy as soon as you get to where you're going." And sure enough, I put all aviation in. I took a 6-week course to become a flight surgeon, which is not someone who does surgery in the back of a helicopter, as my mom was telling all of her friends. Um, yeah, I was like, no, mom, I'm a pediatrician. I won't be doing surgery in the back of a helicopter. And so I flew medevac my first deployment. I was on flight status, and I deployed 5 months after I got to my first duty station here at Fort Campbell. And luckily, I haven't moved. I've been at Fort Campbell ever since I moved here in 2010.
Wow.
So yeah.
And you had to give 8 years, but you stayed
hmm
longer, right?
I did. I stayed longer. 8 years in, and at that point, I had been divorced, and gosh, 8 years in. Where was I in 8 years? That would have been 2015. Um, oh, I was already dating my current husband by 2015. So I
You were
I
still at
loved
the
it.
same place you are now?
I
Or
am. I
okay.
am.
So how long
Um,
were you in Hawaii?
I was in Hawaii for 3 years.
And then you got deployed
I'm
to
mhm. I moved here in 2010.
which
My
here
first
is, for people
deployment
who
was
don't know,
11.
where's here?
Oh, here is Clarksville. Sorry, Clarksville, Tennessee, Fort Campbell. And I deployed from Fort Campbell in 2011, and I moved here in the fall of 2010 and deployed in February and was gone for a year, or right around a year, and then deployed again. That was to Afghanistan, and then deployed again with an aviation unit out of Fort Drum. I was in a called Profist, but basically I was loaned to them because they didn't have a flight surgeon. And so I deployed for 9 months to Iraq in 2016.
So you
At that
deployed a lot.
time, what's that?
You were deployed a lot.
Only twice.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, still not
I mean,
once.
for Fort Campbell, that's nothing.
Oh,
Most
okay.
people at Fort Campbell went every other year. Um, as a doc, yeah, maybe a lot for a doc that was supposed to be in the hospital as a pediatrician.
Right,
Um,
handing out lollipops.
yeah, right. I don't know. Soldiers are a lot like kids,
Yeah, they are.
especially pilots.
Yeah. Question, so what does a flight surgeon do?
A flight surgeon is basically trained to be able to take care of anyone who's on flight status, so they know what if you're in the air, how different medications, injuries, the state of mind will affect you in the air. So basically, you know what not to prescribe, and if a doc prescribes something, you can say, "Oh, no, you can't take that." Or if you have a certain injury, you can say, "Oh, sorry, you're grounded." So nobody likes their flight surgeon. Nobody wants to come see their flight surgeon. So the goal of a flight surgeon is to be seen and get to know your soldiers and your pilots and your crew so that they trust you, so that they know that you're not just going to be like, you're grounded, but that you'll work with them.
But you did say you were on a medevac.
I did fly medevac. If you're a flight surgeon and have a medevac crew, your goal is to train them and then fly in the back of the bird with them. One thing you have to do if you're on flight status is fly a certain number of hours. So even as a doc, you have to fly a certain number of hours. And it doesn't matter what you're doing when you fly those hours. But while I was deployed, I was on medevac every Monday. I would go on in the afternoon on Monday and then fly or stay on for 24 hours. Then my PA was on Thursdays. He'd go over and hang out with medevac for 24 hours starting on Thursdays.
And when you
Um,
mean hang out with them, what do you mean by hang out with them?
you basically live with the medevac crew for 24 hours
On the base
because
where they're at or where they're
yeah,
located?
well, we were all on the same base. We were on a small forward operating base, Tarrant, and they had their little area that they lived in. And we just, instead of staying in our typical chew or our typical can metal box that we lived in, we would go stay with them because you had to be right there if we got a medevac call so that you could throw on your gear, get on the bird, and go. And I flew, I don't know, 50 or 60 hours total, my first deployment. Luckily, I did not get any of the bad calls. God knows what you can handle. My PA got some of those, but I did not. Most of mine, believe it or not, were children's hearts and minds missions. It's funny that those happened when I was on. There was a special forces compound on our forward operating base, and that compound, they did a lot of hearts and minds missions at the time, and they were co-located with the forward surgical team. So we did a lot of stuff with kids, and once everybody knew I was a pediatrician, then I became the expert, and I was like, ah, I've been a pediatrician for like 5 months.
Yeah, I saw 10 kids.
I was like, I know I did residency, but I'd have a full bird colonel like surgeon say, "Okay, doc, what do you think?" And I'm like, because I was brand new, and here's this seasoned doc who's been a doc forever, and he's asking my opinion because I'm the expert, and I'm like, yeah. But it was a great experience. It really was. I had good deployments though. Being aviation did help with the deployments.
Now you were in for 15 years,
I was.
and was that a choice to get out, or did something happen?
No, no, it was not a choice to get out. In 2018, I had a head injury. Actually, I had a head injury back in high school in a car accident and had to have so much testing and waivers and everything, even to be on flight status. But my head injury in 2018 was so significant.
I paused it
Yeah,
for a second because you got stuck. So
sorry.
no, it's not your fault. It's internet. So I don't know how much of that it caught. So you were talking about your TBI. That
So
was
yes, I had a TBI in 2018, and I still have issues to this day. So I haven't actually practiced medicine since 2022. I'm still
Did
board
it
certified
happen while you were in the
pediatrician.
military? Was it something
It
that
did, it did. I
do
am
you want to go
now,
into it or not go into it?
uh, well, it wasn't military related, believe it
Oh,
or
okay.
not. I was ice skating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So now
He's
you're
like,
telling everybody wear helmets when you're ice skating now?
so what? My husband won't let me get on ice again because my car accident was because of black ice, and now this. So he's like, "No, you're done. No more ice for you." He's like, he's like, "You're not getting on a horse. You're not going ice skating. You're not going skiing. You're not doing anything. You're done."
Yeah, see, when I was younger snowboarding, I was one of the first to have helmet because I'd seen, John Denver and other people who had, hit
Yeah,
trees and other thing that you don't recover from those type of things. I'm just glad,
yeah.
they make parachuters wear helmets now because my son is
Do
an
they?
airborne medic. Yeah. And
Cool. I did
and
not know
he hit
that.
his head. He hit his head while he's jumping. Yeah, they all have helmets. And not the nice ones like, real sportsmen, but just their normal helmet. But it's still better than nothing. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and the last
No,
flight, he last jump he did, they all got blown into trees and he hit it pretty hard and he's like, "I'm done." And so he's no
yeah,
longer airborne status. Yeah.
yeah. I I fell twice. I don't remember hitting my head the first time. I got back up and fell immediately and hit my head the second time. And the funny thing is, I took figure skating lessons. I didn't I'd never worn hockey skates before and took off as if they were figure skates and was not skating the way you're supposed to skate with hockey skates. So everybody else was fine because they didn't know what they were doing, so they were doing the little, but and it was 5 days before my husband deployed. All the kids were here. They normally live with our exes because of the military, and so I didn't go to the doctor. And then I had my husband nagging me from Iraq saying, "Hey, you need to go to the doctor." Then I nearly passed out at work because I was the chief of pediatrics at the time, and so I obviously had to go back to work because I didn't want somebody else to have to work for me. And when I nearly passed out at work, I went to see the doctor and they told me I needed brain rest. And I said, "I don't have time for brain rest. I'll give you 48 hours." And so I tried to go back to work on Monday. Luckily, my boss had frozen my schedule. So I only had to see about half the number of patients, basically whatever was already scheduled, in the clinic. And by the end of the day, the room was spinning. I couldn't, I couldn't, I couldn't do it. And I called him, and as a good leader would do, he completely chewed my butt and told me I shouldn't have come to work to begin with.
So so
And
it's not just nurses, my wife's a nurse, but doctors
no,
make the
no, no,
oh,
doctors are the
doctors
worst
make the
patients.
worst patients also, as I'm hearing, yeah.
We are bad patients. Oh, my husband was so mad at me, and my boss was so mad at me.
The
And I
real question is, could anything been fixed if you woulda went sooner?
I would have done brain rest, and I might not have the same symptoms, and they may have not lasted as long, but the brain is such an unknown.
Right.
It's so hard to know what will and will not, recover. Um,
Was there swelling? Was I don't know mind how much was there swelling or anything, or just,
that everything was, within normal limits on all of my testing when they did the CT scan a week after. By the time I went to see a doc, it had been a week. But I was still having symptoms, so my boss basically said, "You're not coming back to work until you see a neurologist and they clear you." Well, a month later, I was still not back to normal, and the neurologist said, "Well, usually 60 some percent of people get better within a month, but 97% of people are better, 92% of people are better by 3 months. You'll be fine." Well, at 3 months, I wasn't back to normal. At that point, my boss put me in the WTU, WTB. Now it's called the Warrior Transition Unit. Now it's called the Soldier Recovery Unit. It was changed to that while I was in it. And I ended up spending 3 years there.
wow.
Um, trying to go back to work. And then the army said, "Oh, she can work." She went to work. And then the hospital said, "No, she didn't. She was here, but she can't do her job. She's trying, but she can do about a fourth of what she should be able to do. We don't want her." And that was one of the hardest letters to read. I knew it was true. And the DCCS came in and let me read it before she sent it, because she knew that it would bother me. But she basically said, "If you decide to keep her in the army, we're sending her right back to the SRU. We can't have her as a physician. We can let her help out as an extra set of hands, but we can't use her as a physician. It's not fair to her colleagues."
And that had to be really hard for you because that was what you really
Yeah,
enjoyed doing. I mean, this is
yeah,
this is the things we lose as veterans when we get out. If we, for most veterans who get out and then the job doesn't translate. For you,
right,
you had a job that could have
yeah,
translated, but because what happened, now you can no longer do it,
right,
and that,
yeah.
I mean, that is
Huge,
huge for vets and for
huge identity crisis there. I had a major loss of identity. Well, and it didn't help that I was having migraines daily. I had balance issues.
so they must
I
have sent
was
they must have medically you out at 100% at least, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was. By the time I finally got out, it took 3 years, and it went to the highest level. And finally, at the very last, I had to do a computer, like a Zoom, hearing, basically, and they finally said, "Well, we're gonna have to deliberate without you here. We'll get back to you." And they actually went to the office of the surgeon general and were like, "What should we do?" And the office of surgeon general was like, "Why are you not putting her out if the DCCS says she can't work?" And they're like, "Because she's a doctor." Apparently, they don't like to put doctors out. But I mean, I had served my time, and I I was not going to be able to do the job that needed to be done, especially at a small hospital like where I am. If I can't pull overnights, and I mean, we work a lot. As a pediatrician, I thought I wasn't gonna have crazy hours, but in the military, when you're at a small hospital, you work all the time, especially in a baby-making factory like Fort Campbell.
Because there's nothing
I'm
else to do.
telling you.
Come home, nothing else to do.
Clearly, a deployment came home 9 months ago.
We hope.
Right? But it's a busy place. There are a lot of young soldiers here. But yeah, so now I'm out. I still don't work because, as you can tell, I'm all over the place. I already take Alzheimer's meds for my memory. Um, I am board certified still. I keep my certification because I hope someday maybe I'll be able to do something. Um, but with my identity crisis, one thing I did was I started writing. Um, and honestly, the first book I wrote was to help myself get off the couch. I gained 50 pounds and I was in a pretty deep depression. Um, and so I started writing a plan for myself. And once it got to be 4 pages long, I said, I wonder what it would take to write a book. So I wrote my first book. It took me about 6 months and I self published. And then I ended up doing an audiobook of it. And now I'm actually putting out the second edition now. By the end of June, the second edition should be out in all three formats, paperback, ebook, and audio. Here's my little
Hot
hot
mess
mess
to
to
wellness.
wellness. And this is actually me here, not me here. I couldn't get the girl to do the right thing I was like, this is not what I want. And so I literally took a picture of me in front of the mirror in the bathroom. I like messed up my hair and put on a robe and was like, this is what I want. I didn't expect her to put me on the cover, but it worked. So I left it. But
How long did it take you to figure out how to upload through Amazon and all the cover and all the other stuff?
well, I joined self-publishing school, which is now self-publishing.com. And basically, they taught me everything. It wasn't cheap, but they taught me everything. I still haven't made back the money I paid because writing books is
You
not
know, make money.
lucrative.
But what you should do is you should put a course out just for veterans on how to do
That
it.
would be, oh yeah, that would be
Yeah.
interesting.
Because in
Okay,
that,
first I have to get through my Cul de Sac Kids series
I'm
because
yeah,
right now
it's
I'm
but as you're doing it and you have free time when you're not writing on that, you could go, heck, you could get Chat GPT and you could tell it what you want it to do and how to do it, and it would
I could.
create the whole thing for you. I call him Chad, so people don't know I'm talking about Chat GPT. I've been using it since 22, and I now use my phone. We did an Operation Firewalk. This was our second event, and which was a actual firewalk for veterans after, a motivational speaker and stuff at the end of the night, the walkthrough to help them figure out what to do with their life. And
Wait, they literally walk on the fire
on
like the
poles,
fire
on the
walkers?
poles. Yeah, kind of like, yeah, exactly. Just like Tony Robbins. I don't know if you remember who he is.
Yeah, but no. Mm-mm.
It's
I don't
only
think
as
so.
bad as you think it is because it's a limiting belief. Once you walk across it, you can do almost anything. And yes, you will burn your feet if you do stupid stuff across it. Because we had a few people who were like, I'm gonna walk slow, dumbass. But what can you do? But if you walk the way we tell you to walk or how you do it, you're gonna walk across no problem.
Hmm.
And we have to do it at night because the coals have to be a certain color, so you know what they are, so you don't really burn people. But yeah, we have Dave Albin who worked for Tony Robbins for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so he and as his fire captain. So
Wow.
second one, and it's just getting going, and we have it happening again. But what I'm getting is we do a lot for vets, and we're trying to do more for vets. I'm putting together a boot camp out series to where most veterans we have a boot camp in, but we don't have a boot camp out to help us realize
Okay.
that we're no longer a tool of war and other stuff. And so and
Right.
everything we lose as veterans, the 6 things that we lose, big one is purpose and all the other stuff. It's a whole thing for one place to go to find all that. What I'm trying to get at is one of the things would be nice to have a place where people learn how to write and learn how to upload their books.
Yeah.
And it's something that you know how to do already, and you could take a
Already
little
do
part of it. You don't have to do the whole thing, but what you would do is you would create a course, some
that.
videos on it, and then they would get the first few for free, and then they could pay for the residual additional stuff if they wanted to or whatever. So,
Definitely.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm creating my podcast course right now. I just got to
That's so
record my
cool.
videos. I already have the website set up, everything ready. They're all like, "Hurry it up! Can you finish your damn courses?" Sorry, I'm too
Can you
ready.
get
I'm
10
already down
seconds
here.
out of it?
I'm
Yeah.
already on the next thing down here. I have to come back to you. So I've learned I have to finish everything right then and there before I give it to my VAs to do, because then I'll be to my next task, and then I have to come back and remember what I was doing. And I don't have a TBI. I just have, I'm a redneck.
Yeah, I have so many lists and notes and the little in your phone,
Mhm.
the little
Notes.
words are hard sometimes too. Post-it note, the Post-it
Mhm.
note app. Oh, that's a lifesaver. I don't know what I would do without that. But yeah, I'll add that to my list of things, my list of ideas because I don't have enough already.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you don't use ChatGPT, get the $20 version of it, have it on your phone, and you can just talk to it and let it
Okay.
and it does it because you can free flow that way, right? Because when you
Yeah.
write, you're supposed to free flow and don't care how things, but when we write, we care how we write, and it messes things up. But if you talk to it, it will take your words and put it into the writing you want.
Okay.
What I was
Yeah.
trying to get at with Operation Firewalk was I told it I was doing my after action report during the event, after the event, and then put it together in one thing so I can give it to the other three other
Yeah.
people who are doing it. And they did the same thing. And so that way it was easy. You could just say, you didn't
Yeah.
have to write it down. Where did I write that? Where did I put that? It
Yeah.
was in one place.
Okay.
So it's just what I'm saying is if what you've learned how to do, you could quickly just as you're doing it, if you're doing the next one, just talk to it
Yeah.
as you're doing it, and then it'll keep it, and
Yeah.
also
Makes
it'd
sense.
be words for you to remember in case you forget to do it down the road.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
because you're already,
Yeah.
purpose, you have some purpose. You've just had what you went through, you
I
know.
do now. Yeah. I agree though that as a vet you need purpose because once you lose that identity and like you said, as a vet, I should have still had purpose as a doctor, but because I lost that completely, I did lose my purpose. So I totally understand what am I gonna do now? I was like, I am 40 years old and I feel like I'm graduating high school all over again, trying to figure out what I wanna do with my life. And I thought, well, I could do this. Well, I could do that. Well, I could do this. Well, then it was like, I can't really go back to school because I don't know how well my brain will handle school. I was um, taking testing at the TBI because I was treated at the TBI center on post here. I was taking testing and I was getting like fifth percentile and I should be up here. I mean, I graduated medical school. I'm in the fifth percentile. That doesn't make sense. And after time, my brain did heal, and now I'm above average. But it was very, very difficult for me to accept that I was having all these issues, and my husband would literally have to walk behind me and shut cabinets and turn off lights, and he still jokes around about how I owe him. He one Christmas a few years ago, he got me a citation book. Santa Claus put it in my stocking so that he could write me citations for leaving lights on.
That's funny.
So,
My wife
yeah.
sounds like my wife anyway.
Oh, really? Okay, good. So
Yeah,
it's a woman thing.
it's a
It's
woman
not
thing.
for
It's
my brain
that's
injury.
not for your brain injury. Yeah, it's in general. Yeah, it's a general thing. Like,
But yeah, so as a pediatrician, I decided that I wanted to write kids books. And so that's why I started the Military Brat series. And so that is my purpose now. Is my purpose now is to get these books into the hands of kids and to let military brats know that they are not alone. Because honestly, as much as everyone thanks veterans and now they're starting to thank wives, people don't understand how much this life affects the kids. Like these kids are affected, I think, most out of anyone because one, they didn't choose this life. I chose to be in the army. You know, if someone marries me, they choose to marry me. These kids are born into this life. They didn't choose it. And they are affected extremely by deployments and moves. So in the first book, I really focus on the PCS move. And then the kiddos' parents are also divorced. So this is my first book in the series, Cul de Sac Kids. And the little girl is 11, turns 12 in the book. And her mom is a doctor in the army because, well, that's what I know. And you're supposed to write what you know. But her parents are divorced, and so she moves, and the book starts out, "Ugh, I don't wanna move again." She runs up to the top of the stairs, slams the door, typical 11-year-old behavior, and it's just full of that tween angst of, I have to leave my friends. This is the, fifth state I'll live in. Oh, wait, sixth state because I live with dad in the summers. And I'm only 11 years old and I'm leaving yet another best friend. And really, the books show the kiddos that it is okay to be upset, but it's not the end of the world, and that you can get through this. And she has a really healthy relationship with both of her parents. And the parents, although they don't like each other, tolerate each other for her sake, which doesn't always happen in divorces. And her friends. At the end of the book, she moves to Clarksville so I can write what I know. Um, and her new friends group is the Cul de Sac Kids. And that friends group in the second book really helps when one of the kids' dads gets deployed. Um,
How many
so
books in the series?
I don't know yet.
How many is in it right now? Just 2?
Right now, the second one hasn't been published yet. The second one, I have in production right now. I have the cover of it, and we're working on the inside formatting right now. I'm hoping to have it published by July. Um, it ended up getting pushed back a little bit, just because of my goal of trying to get back into doing marketing instead of publishing. Because if I don't market, then I'm not going to sell any books. So I am planning on having it published by beginning of July. And it's called Stronger Together, because the kids are all working together to help. Ella is the girl's name, whose dad is deployed, and she's having a really hard time with it. And I'm hoping that these books, if kids read them, they see that they're not alone. And even if the kids who are in school with the military kids, oh my gosh, this is what they go through. Because a friend of mine was telling me that her son's girlfriend didn't even know what Afghanistan was. How do you live in Clarksville, Tennessee and not know what Afghanistan is? It boggles my how are you in high school and don't know this?
Because high
This is what
school
our
doesn't
schools are
teach
teaching our
anything.
kids.
They teach us nothing. They teach the kids nothing. It's like my son. So here's the funny thing. My son's getting deployed to Korea, and my oldest daughter goes north or south. I'm like, okay, well, if it was a north, we wouldn't call it deployment. We call it an invasion.
War. North or south? What?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Agouri High School, great job in Modesto, California.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mind boggled that someone in a military town doesn't know. But I guess if your family's not in the military, how so then these
If you
kids that
don't
are
watch
going to
TV,
school with kids have no clue what these kids whose parents are in the military go through. So these books, hopefully, I my goal here is I want to start it's called Readers Theater. And you basically take a scene in your book and make it like a miniature, like little screenplay type thing where you give each character a part. And the teacher then uses that. I guess they're doing it a lot in the younger grades for these chapter books. The teacher gives each kid a part. So instead of just you read this paragraph, okay, next, the kids actually have to read their part. They don't act it out, But then you have a narrator that reads the narrator's part, and then, oh, now this kid has to read this part. And it gets them a little bit more engaged in the reading. So I plan on doing some readers theater with my second book since it has more kids involved. And I'm hoping to get it into not just the military schools here on base, but the local schools too, because then they can all see what it means to be a kid in the military. And not all the kids in the second book, not all the kids in the Cul de Sac Kids Club, not all of them are military kids. Only two of them are military kids. And the rest are one has a retired parent, and then the other two have no military connection at all. Because I wanted it to be like the area here.
Like what you know.
What I know, right? What I know. It's easier that way.
I mean, there's so many things. I don't know what you're trying to do with those. I know you want to sell them too, but as we both know, I had a book come out, Financial Freedom: Building Personal Wealth Through Home Ownership. You get, Amazon bestseller in mortgage category and other, and it still doesn't. You don't make a ton of money off of it. That's not the reason you're doing it. You're doing it to get the information out there, and eventually, like chapter books usually are the ones that make money over time because people are looking for the next one after that. Then eventually you sell the whole thing. You could all schools will take them as gifts for the library.
Right. I've already given away so many books. I've talked to, well, On Post wouldn't take them at the library. The library is not allowed to accept gifts.
Oh.
I tried to give them. I also talked to Army Community Services, and I gave her.
Got one better. Send it to President Trump.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I never thought about that. That is amazing.
For his granddaughter.
Absolutely.
Send it to him for his granddaughter.
Yeah. You're genius.
Yes, I have ways of figuring stuff out. I'm in the mortgage industry. My whole day is
my husband.
My whole day is how to figure things out legally without getting into trouble. So that's my
husband will get a kick out of that one. He'll be like, "That's a great idea."
I mean, because someone sent him a hat, he was right about everything and he loved that hat. Well, I mean, this is about military and military kids. It would be something that
very
he's totally,
supportive.
yes. And then he would go get these, you could also send it to Pete.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I find it every time I walk into the hospital and I see Pete on the wall, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's craziness because I watched him for so long on the news.
Well, what's worse is here in Modesto, they didn't change those pictures up until about a week or so ago. And I know the person who actually complained, sent a thing on X to somebody about how come to the VA, new VA guy. And he's like, how come the place in Modesto still has not having President Trump, blah, blah, blah. 2 days later, big old picture of President Trump and everything else in there. It's like, yeah, you guys get your job done. Anyway,
wow.
but go ahead. What?
I don't understand why people have to play all the games they play.
Because that's how people are. People are human.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, I believe. So I do talk radio also. I've been doing it since 2018, and pretty much all of us are in the middle. There's just the fringe 0.5% to 1% on each side that's so loud that we think there's more of them than there really are. Most of us are in the middle. We care the same thing. A couple different things we're a little bit off, but not a big deal. Military is even better because most of the time we can be completely different, have an argument about it, but then have a beer afterwards and no big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know. Like, just agree to disagree.
Yeah. You don't have to agree. On. Yeah.
If you can't agree to disagree and move on. And
when you get your books out there, just send me a copy signed so I can have one for my all authors I have on the show. I want a signed copy of their book. I'll buy other ones for other people to give away. I'm not looking to do it and I always tell people I'm not being a cheap ass. I just want to have a signed copy.
You want a signed copy.
And then I will order another book and give it to somebody. I have no problem doing that, but I can't order a signed copy.
No, I don't have those available yet, but I'm looking for ways to do those kinds of things. There are different print on demand places than just Amazon, and I am trying to figure out a better way than Amazon. I'm
Is that
working on it.
Amazon, or Amazon with the other thing, and not Scribe? What's that other the other company that?
Kindle?
No,
Audible?
no. We'll talk afterwards. Um, we don't have to do this for everybody else. What I'm saying is, no, the one you go through to there's one you can upload your book through that prints for Amazon, and there's also Amazon who does printing also.
Oh, KDP is who I
Yeah,
put
KDP.
you put your
That's
book
yeah,
up on. Mhm,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Somebody
no,
else.
they still they don't pay a lot.
No, but what's nice about KDP now is you can have on your website a direct link back
Mhm.
so that they can buy directly to you, and then you set the price and you make the profit versus
Yeah.
Amazon. That's the best thing. And then that came out after my book came out. I was like,
Oh,
thank you for that after the fact. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
After I sold everything, in the beginning, you sell the most.
Yeah. I'm hoping to make it a nice long stream. We'll see.
Well, you just have
But,
to let people know you have additional ones coming out so they can stay connected with
absolutely.
you. And the
Absolutely.
problem about with Amazon is you don't have control over your people. Like, you don't know who
Right.
bought your book. So if you can do the
Yeah.
KDP through your website, you have more control over who
Yep.
bought, and then you can stay in contact with them and sell directly to them.
I'm working too on a website right now. So if anybody goes to my website right now, I do apologize. It is a mess, but I am working on it with someone right now. But yeah, at this point I just want to help the kiddos. I just really want to make it less traumatic for them to have parents in the military because whether even parents that are doing good parenting are finding their kids are more susceptible to mental health issues now than when we were younger. And I blame it on the access to everything like now.
I blame it on the phone, and I blame it on the
Yep.
fact that they're not outside.
Yep. Yep.
It's that whole, I'm, Generation X where, your hose
Yep. Me
water
too.
and, and I created some t-shirts I got to put up on my Printful site, regarding that stuff. Because it's so true. I mean, I saw a bunch of t-shirts people did about hose water and neglect, but I'm like, that's horrible. Why don't you, and Chat GPT helped me create a bunch of them. Um,
That's funny.
yeah, you're
I
only
mean,
limited by what you ask this thing.
my mom used to lock us outside on Saturdays so she could clean the house.
Yeah, get out.
Grandma wouldn't let us go to the bathroom inside. We had to use the outhouse.
That's funny because we didn't have an outhouse, but anyway, we had to stay outside. I was
Yeah,
in
we had grandma
Colorado.
had grandma had
Everything
an
was
outhouse.
I was in Colorado. Everything was an outhouse. So,
Oh, true. Well, you're a guy, it's a lot easier.
yeah.
But no, grandma had an outhouse complete with black snakes in the rafters.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
lovely.
Oh, it was great.
All right, Amanda, it was nice having you on Helping the Brave. Thank you for sharing your story,
Yeah,
and good
absolutely.
luck on your writing. And like, if you need anything at all, let me know.
Yeah, I
And
will.
anything else you want to add before we go? How do people find
No.
you? How do people find you?
Well, my book, or my website is AL Zine Books. So ALZEINE books.com.
I take it Cul de Sac Kids was taken.
Well, no, I wanted AL Zine Books as my LLC,
I, I understand.
and it has, that's why my website's in progress because Hot Mess to Wellness had its own website. And then I decided AL Zine Books so that I could put both books in. So I have somebody helping me to brand myself with both books umbrella underneath, um, because I'm not that technically inclined.
Well, I could help you do. I created a prompt for ChatGPT that talks about the customer's journey and how the call to actions that are nice instead of yelling at people, buy here, whatever, that it helps them come across along with the journey with you. I've redone every single one of my website. I do another podcast called Inner Edison, and I was interviewing a guy who was talking about how he looks at the customer's journey and other stuff differently when he makes website. He's been doing websites for 15 years. He bought this company years ago. And so I took that podcast, edited it, took everything out of it and made it into a prompt to ChatGPT. And it's changed all the wording that I ever use. Because most of the stuff we write is about us, not about the people we're supposed to be talking to. And so it
Right.
changes it to where
Yeah.
it only speaks to them. And
Yeah. My hot mess book, I talk a lot about joining me on a journey. Because it really is. Wellness is a lifelong journey. We all fall off the wagon and have to start over many times throughout life.
all right, so
So,
go check out her books at alzeine books.com.
yep.
All right, go check out her books, help her out, get the word out about her books so it can help other military, as you called them, brats, understand that they're not alone and they're not the only one going through it. So, Amanda, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.